Well, good evening. Good evening. Once again, we will attempt to do our, I guess we'll call it, oh goodness, Sunday sermon recap. We'll give a few minutes for others to join us as we prepare for this Sunday sermon recap. And while we're getting others to join us, please take a moment and share. I got to figure out exactly where I want to be sitting here. There we go. I think it's a little easier that way. That way I can kind of share it on our various platforms. It's about 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, and it's Sunday evening, the 19th. Yeah, I believe it's the 19th. That sounds right. The 19th of September. And we've once again had a powerful time of worship this morning. And I do want to take a few minutes to just kind of revisit and give a recap of this morning's lesson. So take a moment, share, let others know that you are here. All right. And I see we're popping up on YouTube. Let's see where else we are. Should be coming up on, there we go. We're up on, that looks like Facebook Live. All right, I'm going to share this on a few pages. Hopefully, we'll try it. Let's see what happens here. It's kind of dark, huh? Well, we're at home. It's time to relax a little bit. Hope you've had a wonderful evening. I'm believing that the Lord is going to meet you this week as you are preparing to go into the work week and all of the various activities. And so, let's see. I wish I had some more light somewhere. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, we'll just make this work. Let's see if this is a brightness. There we go. I think that helps a little bit. There we go. All right. We're going to post this on the church page as well. If you're there, let me know. Give us a quick greeting. Let us know that you are, let's see here, create a post in Facebook. And I got a slow connection. There we go. All right. That's the thing about being out here in the country. You get these slow connections out here in these woods. All right. I think we've got a few folks that are joining us. Let me see who is on with us. I'm going to greet you. Hold on, share that with the group. And greet you with the joy of Jesus. All right. There we go. All right. I think we are. Who else is here? Oh, man, I can't see who it is. There we go. All right. Thank you. More details. All right. No, I don't want all of that. Okay. All right. Good to see everyone. We are grateful. As you can tell, we are relaxed for the evening and getting ready for the exciting week ahead. Now, we shared a lesson today. It was part 3 of a teaching series entitled, Here Comes the Dreamer. Here Comes the Dreamer. It's the story of Joseph. And we've taken on the courageous task of visiting his story anew and afresh. And it's amazing to me how every time you read scripture, you always see something new. Always see something new. Brother Scott, good to see you, sir. And congratulations on the newest developments in your life with your engagement and the successful answer of affirmation from your now fiance. Good to see you, sir. Anyone else that's on? We are all right. Good. Sister Jennings, good to see you. The Lord bless you as well. But this story of Joseph, every time you read it, you see something new. It's amazing. Elder and man of God, Brother Hamer, I see you. God bless you. My goodness, Sister Rosalie Jenkins, the Lord bless you, woman of God. Minister Ori, bless you. God bless you. All right. Now, the thing about this story, to me, that just is so amazing. And actually, this is true for Scripture. When you read Scripture, what you will note, and then what I notice every time I read it, if we come to it in prayer and fresh eyes, God will show you something new. He has a way of showing us something new every time we read it. And this story of Joseph, once again, has shown me something new. And the first couple of weeks of lifting this story of the dreamer, Here Comes the Dreamer, we talked about the the praise that the unpredictable process and the praise, the awkward praise, or I think another word that we used for it was complicated praise that Joseph had to endure in the process. Now, there are a couple things that we lifted today because we did the story of Joseph in Potiphar's house. The story of Joseph in Potiphar's house, and we talked about a strategic sacrifice. Let me just say this to you. There's never a pursuit of a promise without a process. And that process requires sacrifice. No great work is accomplished, no great vision or dream is realized without the work of a process. Does that make sense? In fact, what I define today as a sacrifice is the embracing of the process towards the promise. The embracing of the process towards the promise. That's what sacrifice, we're talking about strategic sacrifice, is about. Not talking about foolishness and signing up for something God didn't tell you to do, but I'm talking about when you're just simply walking out what God gave you and life will take you through that process. That process requires a season of strategic sacrifice. That was actually the title of today's lesson, a strategic sacrifice. And we lifted up a couple observations about the life of Joseph. That whenever you are in a season of strategic sacrifice, of course, embracing the process towards the promise. That's what a sacrifice is. It's the embracing of the process towards the promise. We learn, number one, that whatever the circumstance, serve well. It's a sacrifice to serve well when you're in Potiphar's house, living below your privilege, you're not getting paid enough and getting overworked and underpaid. But if God trusted you in that particular place, serve well. Stay positive, keep your honor, remain honest, and maintain your integrity. Those are the things that we saw from Joseph. Now, there were three primary observations we made. Number one, that whenever you're in the middle of a season of strategic sacrifice, God will always strategically place you. He will strategically place and position you. Ever ask yourself, well, what am I doing in this place? Maybe the reason God placed you there is he has strategically placed you for what he wants to bring through you. If you remember, when we look at the story of Joseph, he ends up the highest ranked person save Pharaoh in the whole land of Egypt. But when he is bought by Potiphar from the Ishmaelites, he ends up in Potiphar's house. And guess what? Potiphar was of the house of Pharaoh. So in what looked like a place below privilege, when we look at the end of the story, by the time we get to the Genesis chapter 41, etc., and beyond, we know that Joseph was in training for where he was going. He was strategically positioned. Now, it was a sacrifice, because how do you go from being your father's favorite to being enslaved in Potiphar's house? But because he optimized where he was strategically placed or positioned, favor continued to show up on his life. Let me tell you something. I don't care where life puts you. If you optimize where you are and realize that this is just a season of strategic sacrifice and God has strategically placed me here, favor will show up in your life. The scripture says that Potiphar's house was blessed for Joseph's sake. Some of y'all are at workplaces and they don't even know that they're being blessed simply because you're there. Now, the second thing was a strategic position, placement. He was strategically empowered. Joseph was strategically placed. He was strategically empowered. And what we mean by that is that when he was in Potiphar's house, Potiphar gave him rule of the entire house. Isn't that interesting? Here it is. He's in a place that's really below his privilege as the favorite son of Israel. and yet he optimizes it in such a way that he ends up with greater responsibilities. And one of the things I talked about today is sometimes you're on the job and you always wonder why they keep giving you extra work. And the last you checked, they didn't give you an extra check. That might be a season of strategic sacrifice you, and God is strategically empowering you so that you can practice for where God is taking you. He's got you in training for reigning. So strategically placed, strategically empowered. And here is the part that just got a little outrageous for us today. The final thing that often happens when you're in a season of strategic sacrifice is God may allow for strategic persecution. Remember, Joseph is approached by Potiphar's wife, and he learns an important lesson on the way to the process, that everything that's presented to you is not for you. He says no. He refuses her. He stands in integrity. He does the right thing and yet ends up in prison. She grabs his coat and frames him for an act that was nowhere near him. Joseph went into a season of persecution. But I want to say to you that what we learned from that story is that it was the strategic persecution. It was so strategic that by the time we get to the end of this Joseph narrative, Joseph says what the enemy meant for evil, the persecution of the enemy, what the enemy meant for evil, God turned it for good. God turned it for good, because God will allow strategic persecution to position you for promotion. Don't you dare lose your witness because you're going through a season of strategic persecution. God will use strategic persecution to position you for promotion. But here's what really blessed me in this season of persecution that Joseph was in, was what happened to him while he was still in prison. If you go back and read that 39th chapter, and you read those latter verses, it says that when Joseph got there, he had favor with the keeper of the jail. He had so much favor that the keeper gave him authority over all the other prisoners in the jail. And then he had so much favor that the keeper said, I won't even worry about what Joseph's doing. He can do whatever he wants to do. Let me translate to you what happened. Joseph was free in prison. You know you got favor when wherever life puts you, God still has a way of walking you into liberty. He was free in prison. In fact, he was more free in prison than he was in Potiphar's house, because he no longer had to deal with the harassment of a temptress. Isn't that powerful? That he didn't even imprison the Lord, when he has his hand and favor upon you, will free you. That's the gift of strategic sacrifice. That's the reason we embrace the season of strategic sacrifice. We embrace the process on the way to the promise, because on the way we will be strategically placed, we will be strategically empowered, and we will be strategically persecuted. And our testimony will be, my circumstance didn't even have to change for my destiny to be revealed. In fact, he was so free in prison that he started helping other people with their dreams. He was so free in prison that he wasn't bitter. He wasn't angry. He wasn't resentful. He was so free in prison that he could flow in the gift that God had given to him long before he ever went into the pit of Potiphar's house. When you got favor on your life, they can take your coat and take your garment. But once that flow is in you, you can be free in prison. And that's the word for this week. The word for the day, a strategic sacrifice. It will put you in a posture and in a position to see the dreams of God, the vision of God come to pass in your life. Now, thank you all. That's our Sunday sermon recap. We're done with it. I know it's a little later in the evening than last week, but you know that Sunday afternoon nap got the best of me. But we are here now. Lord bless you. I'm going to meet you on the wall tomorrow morning at 7:45 a.m. for morning prayer. Don't forget to join us at 7:45 a.m. for morning prayer. The easiest way to get the reminder and the call-in information is to simply text TMPC for life, the number 4. Don't spell out 4, but the number 4. TMPC for life, no space at all. TMPC for life to 81411. Again, that's TMPC for life to 81411. And we'll meet you on the prayer wall tomorrow morning at 7:45 a.m. Eastern time. Now, until then, may you have sweet rest. And may the strength of God be your witness and the power of Christ be your testimony.